Hello there. Hi, upside down wave. This video is going out a little bit early, and the reason this video is going out a little bit early is because AwesomeCon is around the corner. In fact, this video will be released on the day that I'm actually at AwesomeCon, which is Friday, Saturday, Sunday, of starting, let's see, March 8, 9, and 10th, I believe. And I can't do my White Dwarf walkthrough at my usual time on a Friday night, so we're doing this actually the day after the release of the last White Dwarf walkthrough, which is White Dwarf 230. But this time, it's going to be White Dwarf 231 March UK edition. Yeah, that's right, folks. This is the UK book. But before we get started, let's talk about paints and bills. As you all know, I am the author and writer of The Night Guardians. Night Guardians is drawn by the amazing artist Veronica Smith. It's the story of 1, 2, 3, 4 cuddly toys who protect you from the monsters under the bed. This is a fantasy adventure graphic novel along the lines of The Amulet or the, let's see, the Wolfwalkers, or maybe even the Wings of Fire. And it exists full colour, 156 pages, self-contained story. This is available from Amazon or Barnes & Noble. If you do not have a Barnes & Noble in your country, then go to your local Amazon website, type in The Night Guardians by Nick Davis, and you'll likely find it available for distribution on there. Also, if you've been following me on social medias, you know I've been talking about this book here. This book here is the Let's Hunt the Monsters by Mr. Button's Let's Hunt the Monsters by me. This is written, drawn, and coloured by me, and even lettered. This is my full 32-page on my own comic book. I would open this up. This is my archive copy. So it's all slabbed and nice and safe inside here, as basically all my other copies are now packed up and ready for AwesomeCon. Yeah, check it out. I'm afraid it's not available overseas at this moment in time outside the USA because shipping to overseas is very, very expensive. So until I figure out a way of getting it out into the UK or to Europe, maybe I might send copies to my dad and he can mail them out for me. This is on the US bound, but this is available in the links below the this video. Now I've done paying the very important bills, actually keep everything running, including the power in my house and stuff like that, and even the studio, so I can draw more comic books. Let's talk about White Dwarf 231. As I mentioned before, this is the UK edition, and also on the cover we have the Dark Elder Reaver jet bike artwork done from the box set, I believe. This also shows one of the weaknesses of using basically artwork for covers, because this here has nothing to do what's inside this book here, and this is actually a very, very good White Dwarf. In fact, it actually signals a change of formatting and formatting and other ideas as we go in. As you can see, in this White Dwarf, we got the Defense of Ultramar, new Regiment of Renown, 40k continues of releases, complete Warhammer timeline, that's unusual to have, and a 40k Space Rules army list. Okay, let's crack it open and see what cuts loose, shall we? So we're nice and centered on the camera there. There we go. As you can see, the contents haven't changed that much, but we have a preview for Battlefleet Gothic. In fact, that reminds me to say one last thing. I know I said this is it said 231 was the was the Battlefleet Gothic release issue that had the computer-generated image and colouring on the front of it. Let's just blame that on old age and a very poor memory. That White Dwarf is coming. But it's not White Dwarf 231. In fact, I don't think it's the next 3 or 4 issues, to be honest truth, because I've pulled them all on my archive and none of them have that cover on it. But I know it's coming and I'll let you know when it comes. So that explains my short. Let's go back to the contents now. Okay, so basically the same departments as normal. Warhammer 40k's got department, Battlefield Gothic preview. Warhammer Fantasy Battles has a department here showing some of the demonic creatures coming out. The Hobgoblin Warlord Wolf Riders. I had a conversation with somebody on my previous video about this, guys, and I completely forgot these existed. Again, Swiss cheese memory, what can I say? Okay, let's turn the page and see what cuts loose. As this is the UK White Dwarf, we have the White Dwarf Bulk Bios. Oh my gosh, we look so young and so dumb. Oh, hang on a second. Incompetence in this one. Wow, look at us. What did I say? Superman, check out that kiss cross. My job is saving the world, apparently. And my most embarrassing gaming moment was to lose to Ian Strickland. Yeah, that was embarrassing. Anyway, so this is basically the UK version of the news, which is very different to the US one. I still think the US one had a nice editorial going on there. but everything else is almost the same type of formatting. We're looking at the new miniatures. We have the Blood for the Blood God, the 40k Khorne Berserker plastics, which were very, very nice. With more Roman Chaos miniatures, the Skylar Affenhun, what are they calling it? Demon Spawn, that's it. Chaos Spawn, that's it. I knew I'd get there eventually. Chaos Spawn. And they have this really beautiful Slanesh Demon Prince type warband warlord. Really nice, actually. And then we have the Hobgoblin Hordes here. The new this will be the Dogs of War release for this month. It's going to be Ogla Khan's Hobgoblin Wolf Boys. And again, I completely forgot they were even existed. That's just me. Battlefleet Gothic's on the way, so we're basically taking a look at behind the scenes of some of the stuff that is coming. That is Mark Jones, huge guy, making basically Planet Spears for basically the game. I'm saying basically a lot, so let's try to get out of that a little bit. And we have Warhammer Outfitters Tournament announcement coming up. This is back when basically we were friendly with the WPS. There was a point that basically Legal had a weird conniption fit and tried to stop him from using the name. I'm never going to figure that out, but that's where it is. Got this new heavy support releases coming up. The Vindicators coming on the old Rhino chassis, and we have the Landspeeder Tornado, which is basically a tornado with a Gatling cannon on the Robin Reliant base. Careers at Games Workshop with developing a Japanese business. Turned out to be one guy. Real cool guy, but really just one guy. Turning the page over here, basically it's the last page of the news. The news, by the way, is actually created and laid out by Graham Davey, in case somebody was wondering. Buttons of the Black Library and basically release schedules and a little preview of something that might be coming our way. Looks like a Chaos Space Marine biker. Now we jump into a article by Khan Thomas Perrin, the Regiments of Renown. He talks a bit about Regiments of Renown, how to raise the mercenary army and the importance of it. We have a nice little Ogla Khan piece of artwork here. And then we go into Gazak Khan. The main well, actually, he's the new warlock. He's the new mercenary general. It's basically brought a new point up in Dogs of War. And I'm remembering now that your mercenary generals didn't always have to be humans. Yeah, so that's a whole new thing. I do have to say this one little thing here, though. It's a shame this concept wasn't explored more in the actual Warhammer Armies Dogs of War book. I think it would make for more interesting army setups, and I still think that one of the weaknesses of that book was it didn't really give you the opportunity to field a pure mercenary army unless they were all Regiments Renown, which were actually fairly pricey for what they were. Ogla Khan's Roof Boys here, and I think about in the background there you can probably hear the dogs barking. So Ogla Khan's Roof Boys, really nicely done. They are basically, they're the Huns. Beautiful little miniatures, painted very black, so they got very, very muddy in terms of basically what we're looking at here. That's probably why we used a lot of red. And the dogs are still barking, so you can probably hear. Don't mean we're not getting imminently invaded, it just means someone just drove past the window on the main road, like a mile away from us. And basically these were very muddy looking, but they were very, very traditional looking in terms of basically their wear and that kind of thing. And it looks they actually were very nice miniatures. Looking at these now, I still have no memory of them myself, but that doesn't mean anything. And Ogla Khan's Wolf Boys breakdown in the traditional manner you see in the Dogs of War game. I think they've had effective fast cavalry, so basically you've got Wolf Boys cavalry without basically the badly, Wolf Boys on the top of it, and you've got Hobgoblins, which are always a particular favourite. Favourite of everybody. I first encountered my first Hobgoblin in my first ever game of Dungeons and Dragons. He basically beat the crap out of my fighter. Here we go. Don't lose your head. First of Jervis Johnson's 40k articles for this this White Dwarf. He talks about World Eater armies in 40k and how to build a World Eater army. We've got a beautiful full colour piece of artwork there, which basically is a wonderful anchor image. This is the start of us basically talking a lot more about some of the behind the scenes things and how you can do to theme your armies. And then we have here Converting the Berserkers by Simon Shuker. Simon Shuker basically built all these conversions here. Again, see, grey toy soldiers with metal bits stuck on them. Yeah, I know, we haven't seen that since the Dark Elder, right? But this is our new way of basically presenting how to do conversions and giving you an idea of all the bits and pieces you can put in from other models to make your models even more special. In fact, in this number 3 here uses actual Space Marine pieces to go into the Berserkers with the shoulder pads stuck on the top. And we have basically Khan the Betrayer over there, talking a bit more about him. This gives you a few more extra rules about Khan the Betrayer and why he's so special. Did we put the points in there? Yes, we did. 199 points. Okay. how to paint a World Eater's army. Basically, various ideas how to paint him. I actually did paint a small World Eater battle force, about 500 points, using, what's it, blood red. It was black, blood red, and red ink and brown ink, and a lot of gold. And it came together pretty nicely. I'm not sure if it ever gets featured in White Dwarf. I did have a whole period of basically having a limited palette on painting my toy soldiers to really kick into it. I think I was going kind of fairly arty-farty. And basically, Jonathan Roberts, the rest of Chaos inhabits the 40k internet. This is basically a main list thing that came through from Jonathan Westmo. Kind of crazy thing, but we're starting to go into the world of multimedia here. I know it's only 1999, but the internet is really starting to become its own thing. Looking at Bold Holstrups, Cornet Army. Bold, it was a sales rep for Games Workshop Sales Scandinavia. Fantastic painter as well, fantastic chap as well. Beautiful toy soldiers. Really look really nice. Nice use of the Legion of the Damned sergeant there to make it an interesting character. Beautifully red. Red is so hard to paint smoothly that this just looks really good. Black Crow Knight. This is Liam Carpenter's winner of the Australian Golden Demon Slayer Sword for 1998. Oh wow, look at that. I didn't even realise Golden Demon was running in Australia at that time. But then again, my memory's terrible. It looks beautiful. What can I say? Absolutely beautiful. And we're looking at bits and pieces of close-ups of the toy soldier here. Looking at the base and the painting. She looks a little bit rougher than I thought it would be, but this is a really nice miniature, and Lee did a real good job of it. And there's the Golden Demon models just there, which were painted. We actually came to it as resin, sprayed black, and dry brushed silver, gold, and bronze. Believe it or not. Here's the Dynamo HQ. The Ten of Crusade is the big event for the month, because basically Gothic is on the way. And then we go into the second of Jervis Johnson's articles. Jervis did a lot of articles for this White Dwarf this month. And we're talking about the Fallen Angels and Cypher. He has a huge role play in the Horus Heresy books, if I remember rightly. Not read it myself, but I have caught a lot of 40k lore on YouTube recently. We have Dave Gallagher's beautifully rendered and painted Fallen miniatures here. Look at that. That's just great. Just great themes of one body and just various poses to change them. Absolutely fantastic. Actually, we did hold a competition basically of who Cypher was and what famous movie character he was based on, and it was actually the Man with No Name. So there we go. Screaming Death, talking about the fact that we just put a Gatling cannon in the bottom of the one reliant land speeder. Yeah, I know I'm trying to talk this down. I do remember when the land speeder first appeared, and that was that weird open front land speeder model back in the late 80s. Well, the crew didn't have any protection whatsoever, and it also brought to mind that I always thought that 40k vehicles that survive this far into the future actually were basically civilian construction vehicles. So, here we go, Battlefield Gothic, coming to a sector near you. Look at that. That is a beautiful rendered piece of art there. This is a preview of what's coming back in Battlefield Gothic. I was playing a lot of Battlefield Gothic at this time, so no doubt I had something to do with laying out this article. And as you can see, it's in my signature black and red and muddy, you can't read the text colours. I promise you, this looks so much better on the screen than ever produced. But we were trying new things and new designs, and if I was doing this now, I would not be using this much black. And I'm going to guess this was a nightmare to pass and print. Thankfully, this issue, White Dwarf 231, was an issue I had to go to the printers to pass. But there we go. To the page here, we have the huge Warhammer Monthly Shadowfast issue 13 out now. 13 issues of Warhammer Monthly, yeah. There's some Marvel comics who don't get that run as long, so it must have got found an ordinance somewhere. UK probably hit very well. I heard that Ravenwing was actually a well-touted story, as was Inquisitor. Inquisitor had very much a 2000 AD art style to it, which I think worked really, really well. So the stories that came out of it, but really I think they missed the trick and should have put everything inside Inferno and make it a huge quarterly magazine and put some real value into that. Anyway, We go on to a Mike Walker article here. This is Mike Walker just there. Walker just there. Using the Warhammer 4th edition artwork. It's actually drawn by Dave Gallagher, by the way. Who knew, such a fantastic and storied and grimdark illustrator would do such beautiful cartooning. But we have here basically Mike Walker talking about how, how his friends game. Regular readers will no doubt be familiar with Mike's unique writing style, and this month he shares his thoughts on setting up armies in Warhammer. Take it away, Mike. Some people do it the same way every time. Some people do it behind the scenes. Some people do it so they can squeeze you from both sides. Some people do it so they can get you from behind. Ooh, misses. So we turn the page here. This is Mike Walker, and he's talking how to set these armies, the various things they do. You clump them, you survey the battlefield, you make you ready, you send yourself ready for your next tactics. Beautiful piece of cartooning down there. This is what inspired me to start thinking about doing a Goblin Wolf Rider army, and I came very, very close to ordering images and starting it, but I got pulled off into, I think it was a White Dwarf project at the time, and I never went back to revisit it. If not, I would probably have ended up with probably 5,000 points worth of Wolf Riders, which is probably a good 300-400 models, and I would have just swamped battlefields all the time. So I would probably use the clump aspect just here. But you clump all your units in your army very close together, because goblins. And it's just wonderful. It's just a wonderful article. Mike has a unique writing style. Lots of amusement. Very good to see an insight of how these games are played outside the Games Workshop studios. I will say, playing in the studio, you sort of kind of adopt a very different gaming style, a little bit more serious and studious. Mike is basically presenting that, it's Warhammer, have fun with your games. It's the taking part that matters. Last issue in White Dwarf 230, Graham Davey foreshadowed that we were going to be taking part in the Warhammer 40k staff tournament. And here we are. It's Team White Dwarf, Simon Shuker, Graham Davey, me, and Andy Sharman. We got our asses kicked. Actually, no, the team got their asses kicked. Some of us did really well by ourselves, but we really got our butts kicked around the tables. Graham Davey there. Gordon Davidson there. Top bloke, absolutely wellied all of us with his Blood Angel army. Even my dog. I was playing Dark Elder this, and I got my ass kicked completely and utterly by him. And we lost. We actually came close to almost winning the team event, but Andy Sharman let us down. Oh, Andy. But now, it was fun. It was great, fantastic. I don't know if we do talk about tournaments, but look again, this is a different format in the actual article, because we're talking at gaming at definitely not at the studio level, and talking about tournaments in almost a news style type article. Things are changing in White Dwarf, as you can see. Wrath of Khan by Bill King. This is a Bill King story, so it got a lot of room here. Look at this. Oh my, 1, 2. This is a full story going on here, whilst working as an advertorial for Inferno itself. And I think the magazine's still going. I actually found one in my dollar box in my local comic book store the other day. I'm sure this is still going as a book. Let me know in the comments if it is not. I think it was a fantastic way of storytelling and bringing extra colour and extra characters into the 40k universe. Commodore Kane started his life in Inferno, as did the Tanner first and only. My only thoughts is basically it should have been like a big format magazine and quarterly, about 300 or 400, like 100 plus pages thick, and made a real big splash of it. But it was a good start, it was a good thought process, and I like basically this led to the full formation of the Black Library and all those wonderful 40k stories that you guys are getting now. Speaking of wonderful 40k stories, can we have a new Commodore Kane book again soon? I really, really enjoy them. And then we get to the end of it, basically Inferno, talking a little bio for Bill King, and it's just a good story. It's a good little story about Khan. Here we go again. I'm not going to talk about the advert, or there's no point. Charged by Ian Compton. Ian Compton came in as from one of the studio game developers trainees. He moved over to White Dwarf for a little bit to supply article writing, because apparently we weren't writing good enough articles. I don't know. And we're talking about basically Berserkers, which really is a strange thing to do. And not just Berserkers, but we'll come back to that in a second. Featuring the Berserkers, obviously, because they are in that's the main release, but this article felt a little bit of a juxtaposition. It should have been closer that way towards the main article for Berserkers. It's talking about how to use assaults in a decisive moment on your battlefield, and talks about the various pros and cons of the elite assault troops that each army has. Starting off with the Dark Elder Incubi, I will say these are heavily armoured and very dangerous. Back in the 3rd edition rules, assault troops. Yeah, they were just dangerous, very, very dangerous. When I was using Dark Elder, I had full confidence in my Incubi bodyguard squad to basically take on anything. In fact, I got charged by 20 Khorne Berserkers once, and none of them really lasted long enough to actually hit back, because it all goes on initiative. I'm not sure what the Rough Riders are doing in there. Imperial Guards should never get anywhere near assaulting. That's a really, really bad idea. The Reavers, again, great concepts. Never could actually master to use them effectively in basic as assault troops. They just seem to be a waste of points to me, but that's just me. Striking Scorpions, like the Incubi, are extremely effective and devastating assault troops. Space Marine assault squads, obviously they are what they are. Genestealers are insanely tough, and Adeptus Sororities, well, they're just Imperial Guard with power armor. Well, they were back then. They're probably a bit better now, I hope. So they had the armor to survive an assault, but again, these guys got power armor, the bolt guns from firing lines, advance towards the enemy firing lines, chanting your praise to the Emperor. Mailbox, as you can see, we're giving it a double page spread. This is a last gasp to make this thing work. This is going away very, very soon, but look at it. Isn't that wonderful? This is a great way to basically interact with the magazines. We don't get mailboxes in anything nowadays. No magazines seem to have them. Comic books stopped running, except for Savage Dragon, and it's just great. It's just a great way to interact in an old school way with the fellow gamers. You can't even get this interaction on the interwebs. This is just wonderful, wonderful, wonderful stuff. Vindicator. This is Vindicator's a new release. I think I probably laid this one out too. Talking about the Vindicator that's coming out. I remember this back in the day when you used a big old plastic tube stuck in the front of a Rhino with the one hatch opening on it. And it fired like 3 shells, because apparently having 3 shots was basically important back in the old 40k 2nd edition rules, and it blows holes in things. In fact, the Demolisher cannon on the front of this goes onto the Demolisher variant for the Lehman Russ as well. And Time Will Tell by Jonathan Green. Jonathan Green joins us to talk about some Warhammer bits and pieces. Fantastic bits and pieces. He's talking about the immortal characters and special characters in Warhammer here. Skaven Grace here, that's a wonderful, wonderful toy soldier there. And he runs through him and talks about him. I really like the Green Knight model, by the way. That's really, really nice. And this is really good. This one, the King and the Queen of the Wood. The Ariel, the Queen of the Woods, was a beautiful toy soldier. Considering the limitations of casting white metal at that time, I'm sure there's a resin version of her, and it looks even better. You know, talking about army restrictions, reenacting historical battles, and, you know, making up historical conclusions. It's taking the lore of the game and basically doing something very different with it and having some fun with it at the same time. The Warhammer timeline. Oh my, look at that. It's tiny. Tiny. It's probably like really big on the screen. But the text is really tiny. So you're going to need a magnifying glass to read this. And I've got my big old snoopers on to look at this, and I can barely see the text. Thank God it's done for young eyes. Oh my! But it was a wonderful addition to it, and probably could be done better nowadays. But the history of the old world, before the old world went kaput, went to Age of Sigmar, then the old world came back. But it's a wonderful addition to the game too. So history is a wonderful thing. Warhammer had a wonderful, beautiful fantasy background and lore, and I know I've said that lore word about 4 or 5 times in this video, but it was really well done and really thought out. Now, I always will basically protest against the overuse of Grim Dark, but let's be fair, you know, Grim Dark kind of worked, but it kind of overshadows some of the kind of crazier and almost Monty Python parts of the Warhammer world. For example, Middenheim in the old world, in the old Empire, was basically Middenheim. Midden in German means poop, so basically it was Poop Hill. That's what it meant. Okay. Here we go. Demonic Metal. Yay! We're looking at a Demonic Army by Warhammer Grand, one of Warhammer Grand Tournament people. Isn't that a great little toy soldier setup here? That looks like the old school Bloodthirster by the looks of it. Demons' armies are tough to fight against, but also if you can crack them, they just disappear very, very quick. But that was nicely done. I love the colours and variations here, and the Demon Spawn, especially nice. Grounds of Chaos, Glorified Chaos, the Gates of Chaos have opened. We have more releases. We have the new version of the Plague Bearers. I actually like the older Plague Bearers. They're more comedic and a lot more fun because Nurgle was more of a playful Chaos God. They've got the Slanesh Riders there. I've never used them. I've never fought against them, so I have no idea how effective they are. So somebody let me know. Then we go into Chapter Approved, where we're previewing Codex Space Wolves. This is kind of like beta testing. This Codex Space Wolves is around the corner, but we're not quite sure how it's going to work yet. So we thought we'll throw this Codex out here inside Chapter Approved, and just see what happens. I mean, this uses all the old toy soldiers here from the second edition here. So basically, we had the Jervis Johnson, not the Jervis Johnson, the Jez Goodwin sculpts. Jez Goodwin's a fantastic sculptor, but I always felt they were very limited on the plane of them. They're always like the stand with our legs and arms apart all the time. Which is kind of an unfair thing to say because he does some fabulous work, but it does actually show the limitations of sculpting at that time, not sculpting, of casting. So I'm sure with resin again, they're probably a lot more intricate, a lot more detailed there. Ragnar Blackman has a bit of a storied history in the lore books. I've seen him, remember? I think he's now a Primus Marine, right? And just, just talking about some of the toy soldiers, and basically that is Ulrich the Slayer, Nigel Stonecaller, Nigel Stonecaller, and just showing that your Space Wolves can be used as they are in a new 40k game. Well, we're about 6 months into the new release right now, so the codexes are coming out thick and fast. But this is a good stopgap for you Space Wolf players out there. And Iron Priests. In fact, fun fact: the Space Wolves were the first Space Marine army in the second edition to get actually updated toy soldiers. So a lot of these Space Wolf priests were converted from Ultramarine or non-Space Wolf armies because you couldn't get they basically were a different size toy soldier. If anyone remembers the old Tech Marines, they were all kind of funky, but the Iron Priest was actually a good tech miniature. We have the Grey Hunter Wolf packs here, Wolf Scouts, Fast Attack for the Blood Claws. Bloodclaw Sergeants, the Space Wolf attack bag here, the Predator Annihilator. Oh my, we really could have done a better job with the Predator. If you remember how sleek the old plastic one was, I was never quite a fan of that turret being so far forward. And you can tell this is also a beta test of the Space Wolf Codex because the Lehman Russ is not available as a chapter choice right now. Games Workshop UK stores. Clash of Evil, the Saturday event for February. More grand openings. I did make a joke in the comments that basically the stores seem to open and close like revolving doors. So grand openings were kind of interesting because there's a grand openings and 3 months later half these stores will not be open anymore. Then about 6 months later they come back again. That's another grand opening. Really weird. David Storm's Nighthawk Space Marine Army. Oh, look at that. That is a good use of various Space Marine built armies. Like we had that's basically Ulrich the Wounds Priest with basically a claw mask. That is an old Space Marine model. Reconverted with a big sword. It's actually the Chapter Master. That's a Dark Angels miniature there. Has the old school plastic Devastators up there, but hey, it works. Things cost money, so you gotta make do with what you have. And we even have our old second edition Land Speeder on there. Beautifully themed army. It's not your usual Ultramarines or Space Wolves or Dark Angels. Mixes some of the genres together, gives you a nice themed army in the end. Harbingers of Doom, talking up the Raptors. They are just assault troops, basically. Well, jump troops. We have them there basically about to massacre some Catechins, because, pure God, if you pure God of that, the Chaos Marines get that close, you're done, even if they are Catechins. Another article by Jervis Johnson. That makes three Jervis Johnson articles. I designed this one. This is mine. I recognize it straight away. I can recognize it because for some reason I put black text over a red background and wondered why you couldn't read it. We're starting to basically use the sidebars to throw more information at you in the magazine. We took this inspiration basically from the magazines of the time, the gaming magazines, and magazines like FHM, Esquire. They were throwing lots of information on the page. We decided basically see if we could put that format inside White Dwarf and give you a article, which is a anchor article, which is basically Hobbings are doing this time by Jervis, and throw everything on the page. So it was me trying to do something really, really simple and a lot different. We had lore over here, we have painting device over here, we had a small gallery here. We were squashing, we were changing formats, we were experimenting and trying all kinds of crazy things. Looking back at it now, some of it I would not do, like this hard, oh my god, that's hard formatting and that in there. Oh my gosh, that should be moved over to here and that should be over there. Oh, there's so many things I would not have done with this page now. Chaos Space Marines here, black on red, on blue, on dark. Oh wow. Okay, and then This Will Do Nicely by Noel McLean. We have a lot of Grand Tournament armies featured in this, and why not? Because, you know, we want to show gamers armies, and this one showed, this is the third gamers army to my count. Noel McLean is basically has a Bretonnian army painted in the traditional colours of Scottish heraldry, and it looks beautiful for it. Look at this army. Wow, that's pretty cool, right? I really love the Bretonnians. They're so bright and so wonderfully done. I'm not quite sure if they're so greyly night as they used to be. In fact, that's his 40k project. There's the Space Marine in the same colours. Yellow and red together is such a pain to paint because the colours just... One of the colours is slightly damp or wet. They just basically bleed into each other and you can't get a clean lines, and yellow's hard to paint smooth and red's hard to paint smooth. It's unbelievable. But it's a beautiful army. Look at that. That's wonderful. Realms of Chaos. Oh, dun. Warhammer's Arms of Chaos. And look at that little Chaos army there. That is just chaotically big and lots of stuff. Big old red dragon with two heads there. Awesome. Men Behaving Badly. We had another advertorial. No, it's not advertorial. That's right. This is another news piece. Jervis Johnson's article count is now 4. In here, and we're looking at the Warhammer Players Society hold their annual tournament in Birmingham. This is a news report from that tournament. This here is what should be White Dwarf a lot more than we did, and I don't know what it's like now. But even it's not long. It's what 500 words in total. It's full of pictures taken at the time. Looking at the really bad pictures, there might have been a digital camera, but all the colour, the colours bled out of them. Warhammer Players Society did a lot to help develop tournaments around the country. I know they had a spat with Games Workshop Legal at one point because the Legal got, I don't know, too precious about the name Warhammer. I hope that's been resolved and they basically are a Warhammer Players Society again, because this is needed. This is grassroots stuff. This is basically showing this stuff. This is important. I cannot emphasize how important this is to the lifeblood of the hobby. Cold Steel, Warhammer 40k, Battle Report by Andy Chambers, Jervis Johnson, Gav Thorpe, and Thomas Perrin. Thomas returns to playing 40k again. I think this time he plays the Tyranids. No. Thomas and Andy played Tyranids. Oh, I cannot remember which way one it is. It'll come to me in a second when we turn the page. This is a battle for Ultramar. This is one of the polar fights that basically the Tyranids got to Ultramar and invaded, and they got stopped at the polar fortresses. This is one of the polar fortresses that basically stopped the invasion. Ice Station Hebra. This is the relief force. We've got a mix of the Ultramarines PDF forces there and Ultramarines at the same time here. If you actually look at it, you're actually seeing some older Ultramarine miniatures in here as well. Look at those. Yeah, look at that. That's a really old one there. And some of the new ones here too. So this is actually a very good show of combined forces, and I actually really love the fact they used these Valhalla. Are these repainted Valhallans? No, these actually are the Valhallans on white basis. No, actually, no, these are repainted. These are actually specially painted for the actual game. I remember this now. And just basically to show a special militia force. This is showing it again. The combinations of you don't have to paint your toy soldiers as you see them in the codex. Painting other things. And because they're Valhallan doesn't mean they couldn't represent a planetary defense force or another Imperial Guard regiment from somewhere else. This is the Tyrannid Swarm. Oh my gosh, look at that. So much chitting and bristling and spikes and spiky things. Yeah, this is going to be a good game. Here's the, well, here it is. Here's the army list. I'm kind of pattering out here a little bit. I'm going to get a drink of water in a second. We had the Ultramarine Space Marine First Company, the Imperial Guard, Ultramarine Defence Force there. It's about 2,000 points there. They've got the Relief Forces got to come in and try to save them from 2,206 points worth of Tyranids. And I tell you this now, Tyranids are a tough, bloody army to fight against, even back then. And they're off. Oh my gosh. I'm trying to remember who's who in here. Let's have a quick look, see if I can get some clues. Who's who. Thomas Stanley in action in the Ice Plains there, being dead hard. Thomas wears a t-shirt, and Andy feels the cold. So Andy, I believe, is playing the Tyranids, and Thomas is playing the Defenders. And it was a good game. Look at those little ice barriers that are made just for this game. We did try something really different with this one here. This was a very different scenario, different look at the games, and using a historical context to base these games around. Yeah, those Imperial Guard are screwed. Wow. Yep, and yes they are. Jervis Johnson do his movements too. Everybody, I think the entirety of Games Dev was basically playing this game. And there we go. The Raptors are coming to take on the Terminators. So the Terminators are about to get their butts kicked too. It was like, wow, they just got overrun completely. They're going up into the bunkers here. The old school Space Marines are holding their ground. And here come the counter strikes. Look at that. It was just well done. Andy Sharman does the layout for the battle reports at this time, so that he did a good job with these maps. There we go. The Tyranids win this game, but we do know historically the Tyranids were basically pushed off Macragge. Is it Macragge? It is Macragge. I'm going to Ultramar. Ultramar is the realm, Macragge is the world. There we go. I'm sure somebody in the comments has already corrected me in that. Anyway, so the Space Marines were taken down. Well, Space Marines lost everybody, but historically they won and pulled everybody off. This is just one of the many ice fortresses, ice stations that were on the polar regions which the Tyranids were attacking. Good though, good game. Very lots of speed. I think the games that spent the entire time playing it. In fact, we've got to change the shirts there. And just had a lot of fun with it. And then we go into the Mellow section. This was done by Adrian Wood, was still doing the Mellow section at this time. I had not taken it over. We're showing the toy soldiers as we see them. $6 each. $6 each. $2.50. $55 army deal. Grief. $15 box sets. I know the price is not this anymore, even with resin casting. So. But even then, these prices were deemed expensive. There's the old school Space Marine Rhino, $10 box set for one. You used to get 3 in a box for 5, or you could get 2 Predators for 5, or 2 Land Raiders for 10, if I remember rightly. And these are all the very Space Marine armor deals. We're talking about Space Marine armor, so let's put all the armor in there. Do not like this version of the Predator. Then we talk about Assault Troop Squads. You probably should get paid to take Imperial Guard Wolf Riders on. They do look nice, but they're not really that effective. If they don't win the charge with the Lance, then they just get wiped away, and they're very expensive for their use. Which is the same way. I've never been able to use them effectively in a game. In fact, I'd rather change Raid Riches out for Warriors, to be honest with the truth. Maybe because I'm such a dyed-in-the-wool Imperial Guard player, that even a fast attack army like Dark Elder, I just do more invested in using foot troops and making firing lines and that kind of thing. It's a thing. What can I can't be helped. Look at the Space Wolves to really show you the Space Wolf miniatures again. These looked really, really good at the time of the release back in the day. I have to say the Devastator Squad looks a little bit aged now. But I remember when these came out at the tail end of 2nd edition, and they just revamped the entire Space Marine range. Wow. So there we go. And Advanced Orders for Battlefield Gothic, because that's around the corner. List Troll 16. I've never seen a Troll 16 in the wild or in person, so I can't comment on it. But apparently you can get lots of fun special deals and all kinds of crazy stuff in there. I'm glad this magazine existed. Subscriptions for White Dwarf, $8 codex or a $10 box set, absolutely free, and it didn't actually cost you that much. $40 for a year, $75 for 2 years. Wow. Okay. And the last page of the back cover. Here's one of the biggest changes coming next. Yeah, free Warhammer month is coming up next month. It's like was it 44? It's like 44 pages. I don't have a copy of it with my stuff, but where it is. New Lizardmen characters. I think we do a competition for this guy here. Some more Spawn and Lizardmen stuff here, which means I believe in the next 232 I might be doing some more articles for Lizardmen stuff in it. I cannot remember. I have to look at it to take out. And Battlefleet Gothic warps in. Yeah, the Space Fleet battle game. Fantastic. Our new Khorne Berserker release. So there we go. White Dwarf 231. March 1999. UK edition, not US edition. The next 4 or 5 issues I'm going to be doing are all going to be UK editions as well, and then we might go a bit more USE again. I thank you for coming this far into the video. Please like and subscribe. I'm going to be at AwesomeCon at the time of this video's release. If you are in the Washington DC area, come and visit me in the AwesomeCon Junior section, where you can find my banner, the words and occasional art of Nick Davis, and maybe pick up a Let's Hunt Monsters comic book from me, or one of my Night Guardian fantasy novels. That's purely up to you. Anyway, I thank you for coming this far. Like, subscribe, share, obviously, and I will see you around for the next White Dwarf 232, which we will do hopefully at a more regular Friday, but I cannot remember my schedule. I know in April we're going to get pretty much back to back, so I may have to do a bunch of these together and do it that way. I am planning to look at some Warhammer armor breakdowns in case people keep asking me to do that, so I'm going to do a couple more of those. And I'm going to look at probably the 40k rulebook at some point and do a long breakdown video of that if anybody's interested. Anyway, you take care. Happy gaming. May your dice always roll what you need them to roll. And no double ones. And I will see you around next time around. Okay. Bye.